That's just stupid.
Not as stupid as freezing my toilet seat.
Yeah? Well, how stupid is this?
Hey, yo, guys.
Almost as stupid as this.
Oh, it is on!
Hey, who remembers Skechers?
What?
What about those Skechers commercials?
Skechers Work Footwear knows that safety starts with enhanced grip.
No, not those commercials. I'm talking about the ones that were released about 9 years ago with those bizarre superheroes in them.
Yuck! Sweaty, smelly feet need a hero.
Yeah, smelly feet do matter. Who remembers the characters in those commercials?
Here comes Cool Breeze.
And C-Strap!
Well, I'm not here just to ask you a bunch of random questions. Let me bring you up to speed. Back in the late 2000s, commercials starring these fictional characters from Skechers started to make their debut, and they were so popular at the time, the company decided, hey, let's get their very own cartoon created. Well, the characters in the commercials went by 3 names of Z-Strap, Cool Breeze, and Elastica. Yeah, that's their names. Z-Strap being this red superhero guy with Velcro all over his body, and he had some damn Z mask all over his face.
Super Z-Strap is back! Z-Strap! Super Z-Strap is fast!
And he had a really striking resemblance to Deadpool. You also had the superhero of Cool Breeze, this blue dude who wore this green monogoggle and was all about keeping your feet all cool and frosty. Yeah, thanks for that, Cool Breeze.
You should be excited.
And last to the group, you had the female of the superheroes named Elastica. She had some pink weeaboo hair, and she could stretch it super long, as well as use her hair to grab things and fight evil. That's cool. Skechers, a really big shoe company who was really fascinated with making shoes very radical and appealing to kids and making them want to beg their parents for some good old Skechers. Yeah, that's right. That's what all the kids wanted. Skechers is currently the 3rd biggest athletic footwear brand in the whole world. So, what was this Skechers cartoon all about? Well, I give you guys the show of Zevo 3.
Zevo 3!
Yeah, I kinda just said that.
Zevo 3!
Okay, we got it.
Zevo 3!
Shut up. Now, Zevo 3 was a show that was made back in 2010 when Skechers was still in its golden era and still pretty hyped up by all the kids out there. So, what better time to release their very own cartoon than right now? The show was created and aired from October 2010 and aired for 7 months until it finished up in May of 2011.
How about ladies first?
How about not?
And ended up with having 1 season of 26 episodes. Animation was actually not too bad, and you can tell the animators cared a lot about the show, and they actually put a pretty decent amount of effort into it, and it had a really nice touch, and animation being done by Moonscoop Group, who a lot might know for their animation on the series of Code Lyoko.
Thanks, I got it.
The company that had to change its name recently and now goes by the name of Splash Entertainment. Splash Entertainment has made many great shows over the years, like, let's just go check it out, like this one, Growing Up Creepy, to Hero 108, and oh no.
What? You gotta be kidding me.
Well, let's see what Wikipedia says about the show's summary and what this show is all about. Alright, here we go. Here's the plot of the TV show. The show is about 3 kids who get their powers in a lab when Zevo compound covers them due to an experiment done by the evil Dr. Stankfoot. Stankfoot, yeah, there you go. Together, they fight off mutant monsters that arise while dealing with their own teenage problems, including school, friends, and feelings. That's a plot for greatness right there. I don't care what you guys say.
Oh, so totally. Can I have your autograph?
Well, in the show you got the 3 main characters of Jason, Matt, and Ellie. And if you're smart enough, you can probably figure out who they transform into. But I'll get more into those 3 later. Just know that they're pretty important, and like most main characters, that's how most of them tend to be. The show takes place in the town of New Eden City. Yeah, what used to be Footville until the new mayor built on top of the old city and remade this new city all in his image of trying to create the perfect city. Led by their wonderful mayor, Brett Ronson. I just despise this guy. He is the ultra mega douche, but well, we'll find out more why this guy is such a douche later on.
I want you and your stupid hero friends out of my way.
We're helping the city.
I don't need your help. This is my city.
And and why everybody can all root against him and hate him for the most. But I can't get too much of that until I explain why he is the new mayor of this city. Whatever happened to old Eden City, you might be asking? Well, you see, this show actually tells you what happened to it. See, good job TV show. You learn in the first episode that there had been a big explosion of toxic gas and fluids called the Zevo compound. So the Zevo compound that has been released in the city that caused many of the animals and even humans to become mutated and altered. Rats and dogs and cats and everything is all mutated and created into some crazy abomination.
Gross.
Very similar to the premise of what happened in the show Static Shock with the boom gas. Another really underrated cartoon, but we're going to get into that later on in Black History Month.
Yeah, right.
So because of the Zevo chemical spraying throughout the city, it ended up affecting everything that it came in contact with. Hey, but some people are more lucky than others.
What are you talking about? No one even knows who Zevo 3 are. Do they?
The Zevo ended up turning some people into bizarre, strange, gross-looking monsters with deformities and making them look like crap. But some people were fortunate enough to be turned into, that's right, superheroes. Cause, yeah, it seems like a fair trade-off. The two extremes of types of people, of mutants and regular humans, end up living on opposite sides of the city, separated by a river in between. So in one town in the city, you got Stankville with all the crazy and messed up looking deformity creatures and everything. And on the other side, you got the normies and the people that actually look half decent. But that's where things start to get interesting. A scientist by the name of Stanley K. Foote was working on a breakthrough of some medical work that was going to make a big difference in the world. But out of nowhere, it was all corrupted and exploded, and the Zevo compound he was trying to harness was all released in the air, and now he's become transformed and mutated, and he's mentally unstable, and now he goes by the mad genius by the name of Stankfoot. That's right. His name is freaking Stankfoot, and he's being voiced by the infamous Mark Hamill, who also did the Joker in the Batman animated series, so you know he's gonna do a good job. So it's pretty much Brett Ronson on one side with a more cleansed side of the city, trying to create the perfect city with no mutants and defeat his old arch nemesis of Stanley, aka now Stankfoot. And guys, when he says he wants you to know he's creating the perfect city, he's gonna keep bringing it up until you realize this man is all about creating the perfect city.
My perfect city is still not finished. I spent my entire life dreaming of building the perfect city.
Thank you for your cooperation, folks. And remember, here in New Eden City, every day is a perfect day.
You know the public should really rise up and overthrow this bitch, but they're just so caught up in his deception, they can't see through his phony ass.
Let's start with you, young man.
I worked for Ronson Aeronautics and learned that Mr. Ronson is taking the citizens of New Eden City into the future.
This is really how it should have been.
Let's start with you, young man.
I learned that Mr. Ronson is a big pompous-ass power-hungry windbag who is a liar and deceit and just uses the public to fuel his own personal agendas.
Good, man, good.
So I don't want to spoil too much, but later in the series it actually reveals why Ronson acts the way he does and why he hates the mutants and despises them so much. He had finally made it to the big city and life was great and he really was going to make a name for himself, but he was hit with the Zevo compound, which caused him to become half mutated. Though he's lucky enough, he can actually control the transformation and go back and forth between whatever the hell this thing is to himself, mostly at will, but he can hide his secret and he can also release all his overflowing hatred for all those mutants out there and especially those superheroes of Zevo 3.
But what you gonna do?
He tries fooling his followers and puts on an act every time he talks with the citizens of the town, and they just can't see him for the sadistic jerk he really is. I mean, in one episode, there's like a bunch of workers bowing down to a photo of him. Yeah, that's just creepy. Ronson is the definition of what it means to be a hypocritical bitch. But enough about that. Let's talk about some of the main characters of the TV show. So you have Jason, who is Z-Strap, Matt as Cool Breeze, and Ellie as Elastica. I don't really get how the citizens of town can't figure out who is who and who these heroes really are. Especially with Ellie's look, you can tell she has pink hair, long ass pink hair, and they sound the same. Don't you think she might be the superhero in disguise? But they're not gonna figure it out. If you're falling for Ronson's bullcrap, hey, who knows what you'll fall for? But at least their designs are slightly altered for this series instead of how it looked in the commercials, cause some of those designs, I'm looking at you Elastica, look really shitty. Thank God they went with this version of Elastica, cause like I said earlier, that fucking version in the commercial looked god awful. Guys, oh my god, what the hell? She looks like some cross-dressed asylum escape victim. I mean, what the heck is up with this girl's outfit? A purple jumpsuit with this faded pink skirt. You know, you need some longer shorts. What are you even supposed to be? Some rejected ballerina Wii Fit trainer? I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. At least the Zevo 3 version of Elastica Girl looks really respectable. But those loud ass bright yellow gloves, the purple and pink is nice and all, but boom, you gotta throw in some bright ass yellow gloves. Really? Girl, you don't look like you're ready to go fight some crime. You look like you're ready to go wash some damn dishes.
The young lady has excellent taste.
Oh my god, stop fucking lying.
Z-Strat looks a lot like Deadpool with dreads. Cool Breeze, he looks pretty similar. He didn't go through many changes, but he still pulled off pretty well, being voiced by Dante Bosco, aka Zuko, and Jake Long from American Dragon Jake Long. It's kind of cool how he's voicing characters with fire elements for all these times, and now he's gonna voice a character of the ice element. Ellie is voiced by Carrie Walgren, who a lot might recognize her voice, as she does the voice of Shannon from OKKO, Jessica from Rick and Morty, Tigress from Kung Fu Panda, Legends of Awesomeness, and even did the dub voice of Kagami Hiragi from Lucky Star.
Sorry I'm late. Oh, you think? You know, for someone who's always complaining about ball games running late, I think you'd be more punctual.
Man, that's a really good anime. So, how do the three main characters of Zevo 3 fit into the scheme of the TV show? Well, actually, pretty well. Even though this was a show created to help sell shoes and marketing ploy, hey, it actually, I can't knock it too much. It actually does a really nice job and has decent storylines. And it has a lot of character development, and it even goes into deeper stories as the show goes on. So you might be asking, how great can a show based off of shoe commercials really be? So I actually went back and marathon all the episodes to really find out those questions. And you know what? The show, it had some misses, but not too often. It had a total of 26 episodes, and I would say at least over half of them were, worth to watch. So I would say go check it out. There's pretty good, well quality written episodes hidden in this series.
Never mind me. Where did those creatures go?
I lost them.
Suspense. The show I would kind of describe would be like a mixture of the vibe form from Iron Man Armored Adventures mixed with a tad of Danny Phantom wrapped up in the atmosphere from the show Static Shock. A big reason for the interesting, engaging show, I would say, is the credit for having so many likable and redeeming personalities of the characters, while the main characters actually make it feel like they're really bonding and growing as the series goes on. At the start, they all hate each other and they're all some crazy, distant, stereotypical kids that just don't want to, deal with society. You got the, stereotypical athletic black guy who's a loner, the white science kid geek, and the girl with a sassy attitude, because that was a stereotype back then. But the characters you can really feel for, and they're not forced at all, and you can really feel that form of friendship and bond. And each of the team goes through their own struggles and learns from them and becomes stronger and stronger as the series goes on.
Oh yeah! On the cake to the beat to the cool breeze!
Yeah.
Hey, well, let me talk about the great side characters in the show as well. Firstly, like Jason's grandmother, who is this really, loud and prideful, straight up savage old lady who just doesn't take no back talk from no one. And she demands respect when she's speaking to you. She's just hilarious.
It makes you face your worst fears.
It does? Honey, I already faced them. There ain't nothing that can scare me anymore.
There's also the character of Bug, who you meet somewhat early in the series.
Time for you to go home to mommy and daddy in New Eden.
as he's mutated by the Zevo compound, and now he has green skin, and he's got these red eyes, and he's got a really cool character design. But he's actually one of the mutants that's able to speak, so that makes him pretty diverse, because a lot of mutants, when they're transformed, they're not able to speak anymore. So being able to speak and communicate with the humans makes him a very viable asset later in the series. I really like how his character evolves over time. At first, he doesn't really want to have nothing to do with the gang of Zevo 3, but he ends up building a pretty tight bond with Jason and the others, and he becomes a really reliable ally later on in the series. I really enjoy the voice actor of Bug, Benjamin Diskin, and he just does really great work for voiceovers for a lot of shows and games, including providing the voice of Mega Man in the Mega Man 11 game. He is probably one of my most favorite voice actors because the way he makes all his characters sound so much more mysterious and cooler than they really should be. Like when he voiced Wolf in the anime Blood Lad.
Damn it, those punks weren't even worth my time. No fun at all.
Man, he has a lot of good VA work, and also he did the voices for number 1 and number 2 in Codename Kids Next Door, plus a lot of others from a lot of variety of animes out there. A lot of the villains' mutated designs go from pretty cool and interesting to some being very blah, and some I find a lot lackluster and not interesting at all. Like the mutant cows in this one episode, I found really nicely designed. I like how they are big purple mutant cows and how they look. And you know, Stinkfoot's design is pretty cool and unique as well. So some of the mutants, like they look really cool. But some of the fish were kind of bland. They could have been better. Usually they just add a bunch of eyes to it. The worm mutants were just big ass worms. Pretty much they were just ripping off the movie Tremors. The mutant Blacktop, Stinkfoot's main henchman, Behemoth bodyguard, he had a really cool design as well. And his ability to shapeshift and blend and mold and just come out of the shadows was a pretty cool design for a villain.
Oh, Blacktop here may not be much for dinner conversation, but he is very powerful and incredibly loyal.
They do really well with the painted layout of backgrounds used throughout the series, and especially for their forest and landscape variety of scenes. And they also did really good with the color palette used in the show, and just made it very appealing to look at, especially when you looked at a lot of the nighttime episodes. You can see their nice mixture of how the characters just stand out and the coolness of the colors being used and how it just pops out at you, and it just looks really nice. Like, take a instance, look at this scene, and the scenes like that, it just like makes you think that the animators were really trying when creating this TV show. Now, Zevo 3 wasn't a masterpiece by no stretch, pun intended, but it did do a lot of things right when it comes to making a well put together cartoon. The characters are pretty unique, they have their own qualities and personal agendas, which really help you get that feel and makes them feel so much authentic and less forced. And the villains of the show, even though I might not agree with them or their motives, I can respect that they all have their own personal perspective and why they are doing the things they really believe they're doing is correct and right, even though we all know Ronson is a bitch.
I'm sorry, I can't be perfect.
That's just a fact. The conflicts are solved in a timely manner, with things aren't dragged out for too long, but enough time to get a point across and kind of learn a lesson at the end of most episodes. Zevo 3 for me, well, for a show based off of a shoe product, it was actually a pretty okay show that had a respectable amount of substance with some strange personalities and a decent plot line.
I don't like it.
Well, this is the part of the video. I want to give a big shout out to the wonderful man of supreme awesomeness himself, Diego Garcia. You are the man. Thank you for your very generous donation of $40 and your request of doing this wonderful show of Zevo 3. It was definitely something. So, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed, and remember...